Hello everyone, Mrs. Bradfield still here, and we're back for part 2 of angles of quadrilaterals. So we're going to look at an example together here. You can see that I've been given two angles very clearly, 80 degrees and 105 degrees. We've also been given this angle here. If you remember one of my earlier rules, we know that that square always means that the angle is 90 degrees. What we don't know is this angle over here. So we need to use one of the techniques we talked about earlier. So the first thing we're going to do is, now that I have labelled all of the angles that I know, I find this really useful to write onto the shape when I can, so that I can see all of the angles in front of me. Now that I know them all, I'm going to add them together. Now with my mental maths, I find it easier to add 90 and 100 first, which will give me 190. Add the 5, 195. I'm then going to do 195, add 80. So the total of all three angles is 275. What I then need to know though is what this last angle is. So that's when I come back to 360. 360, take away 275, will give me my final angle. Now you could do this using column subtraction if you would find that easier. I can't do 0 take away 5, I can't do 6 take away 7, so I'm going to need to borrow from here. Give my 1 to my 6. Borrow again, so that I can finally do this first one here, because we always start with the units. 10 take away 5 is 5, 15 take away 7 is 8, and 2 take away 2 is nothing. So that means my final angle is 85 degrees. Next, if we look at our next shape, we can see this time that I have some parallel lines here that are going to help me. I only have one angle identified, so this may seem a bit confusing about how we're going to solve this problem. However, as I said earlier, parallel lines can be extremely important. The fact that these lines are parallel tells me that these angles are opposite, and opposite angles are always the same. Therefore, I know that this angle is 70 degrees. So I know two angles, but I've still got two missing, and I've now got no way of working those out without doing some sums. So I write down all the angles that I know, and I always begin by adding them together. 70 and 70, my total so far is 140 degrees. However, I still need to know what the other two angles are. So I take them away from 360 to see what I have left. This gives me 220 degrees, which I still need. As I said earlier, these parallel lines can come in very useful, because not only are these two angles the same, these two angles are also the same. So now I know that they're the same, and I know that I have 220 left. That means I need to divide the amount of degrees I have left by the number of angles that are the same that I have left. Therefore, I need to do 220 divided by 2. 2 goes into 2 once, 2 goes into 2 once, doesn't go into 0. My missing angles are both 110 degrees. So now that we've worked through a couple of examples, I hope you'll get on all right with the work on the websites for you. Good luck, and hope to see you soon.